Hello everybody, happy Monday. Today we're going to be going over a solids, liquids, and gases lab. There are two ways you can do this lab. You can either do the lab on your own and fill in the data table, or you can watch this video and fill in the data table. Either way you do this lab, either by watching or by doing, you need to fill in the data table and answer the questions. When you're finished with the assignment, make sure to press that turn in button. Okay, so our target for today is to be able to identify how solids, liquids, and gases are different. And that's something that we don't usually think a whole lot about. Like, for example, I know this can opener is a solid, right? I don't question it. I know it's a solid. It feels like a solid. It looks like a solid. But what actually makes a solid a solid? What actually makes a liquid a liquid? What makes gases gases? And are there some weird in-between things that can happen? Okay, I'm going to be using a couple of different things real quick. So the first thing that I'll need is I'll need a little bit of ice. There we go. And I want you guys to take a moment and just make some observations of this ice. So is its shape changing at all? Is the shape of this ice changing? If the shape is not changing, go ahead and write no in the data table. And what about the amount of space it's taking up? Is this thing getting bigger or smaller? Write what you think is happening in the data table. You should have written down that the shape, the volume, both the shape and the volume of a solid really don't change. That's what makes a solid a solid. Its shape and volume don't change. So what we're going to do is we are going to heat up this ice in a pan. There we go. Back. Okay. So what I want you guys to think about is this is a phase change that is happening right now. Is a phase change an example of a physical change or a chemical change? Good. It's a physical change. A physical change, it can be like a phase change, is just when the shape or appearance of an object is changing, but its chemical identity remains the same. Right now what's happening is that solid H2O is turning into liquid H2O, but it's still H2O. The chemical identity of the substance is not changing. Cool. So our ice is melting pretty rapidly, and we're getting some liquid water. What do you notice about the amount of space this water is taking up? What do you notice about the shape? If I move the water around a little bit, does the shape of the water change? Yeah, the shape of the water changes. What about the volume of the water, the amount of space that this water is taking up? Is that changing? Not really, no. The water is not getting really bigger or smaller. It's taking up the same amount of space at any given point in time. So we're going to continue to let that phase change finish through. And then what should pretty soon start to happen is our liquid water should start boiling / evaporating and turning into a gas. And we're going to just give it a quick second. Here we go. It's just started to go. It's a little difficult to see right now because it's just starting, but I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up or not, maybe a little bit. But little wisps of steam are starting to come off of the pan. There we go. There's a little bit more. So there's some gas that is coming off of our pan. Is the shape of that gas changing? Yeah, the shape of the gas is definitely changing. What about the volume of the gas? Well, originally, the volume of the gas is kind of confined a little bit. It's only occupying the volume of the pan. But as it begins to evaporate more and more, it occupies the volume of the room. So the volume is changing as well. I'm going to take this pan and set it over the steam that is coming off of my pan. What do you notice is happening to the steam as it is falling, or not falling, I guess it's really rising. As the steam starts to rise into the pan, what phase change is happening as the steam is collected in the pan? Or in the pot lid, rather. So you can see that the water is starting to condense. This is another phase change. When a vapor turns into a liquid, we call that condensation. Okay. All right, so we've gone through 3 different phase changes so far. We've talked about what can happen when something melts. We've talked about when something can evaporate. We've talked about when something can condense. And the last thing is when something freezes. So when a liquid turns into a solid, it freezes. What you can do is just take like a little teaspoon or something like that if you want to try it at home, and fill up the teaspoon so it's completely full with water and set it inside your freezer and watch as it freezes. Another fun thing you can do is you can try and guess if, as it freezes, is the ice going to flow a little bit over the top of the teaspoon, or is it going to shrink? I'll let you figure it out for yourselves. See you next time, folks.